Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Today we're talking about the Black Crow's Atris. I have always been a big fan of the Atris. I think it is very, very well rounded as a freeride ski. I think in my actual feedback from our ski test, I referred to it something like the quintessential freeride ski, and I do think it's like kind of smack dab in the middle of the freeride world, especially in this width range. There are skis that feel stiffer and more powerful. There are skis that feel playful and quicker and more agile than the Atris. But if you're looking for just a very, very well-rounded ski in this width range, it's hard to beat this just for well-roundedness, which is, not really a criteria that a lot of people point at when they look at ski performance. It's very common for us to go to things like it's the most stable, it's the most playful, stuff like that. But you could really make a strong argument that well-roundedness and versatility is, for a lot of people, going to be more of a benefit. So really cool ski, 105 underfoot, rocker tips and tails. We'll look at the shape in more detail in a second here. It is a twin tip, but I think it's better to think of it as a directional twin tip rather than like a real strong freestyle inspired twin tip. I don't really think it has that vibe. And then as far as construction goes, just a poplar wood core in this ski with some fiberglass. Pretty simple construction. That's something that we see from Black Crows a lot. Really where they get the performance is through core thickness, through making a really, really good shape. And this is a great example of that. It isn't light. This is a 184.3. I think it's important that it's not light, because if it was too light, then it would start getting deflected and it wouldn't really have the stability that it does. That said, 1,860 grams, so we're not looking at a crazy heavy ski. I was talking about the Justice earlier, and that ski in the same length is about 130 grams heavier or so, or maybe 140 grams heavier. So like I said, I'm glad that it's not lighter. If you went down another couple hundred grams, it would start to feel a little bit squirrely, and I think it's nice that you can really trust this ski to support you if you want to ski fast, if you want to just point it and let the ski run. And then the flex pattern is nice. It's not too stiff, it's pretty round, but you never feel like you're washing out or wheeling out on the Atris, or at least I don't. I suppose I could understand a bigger skier having more issues with that, but I don't think I've ever talked to somebody that skied the Atris and then commented that they struggled from a lack of stability. I just don't think that's really going to happen for too many skiers. Looking at the shape here, like I said, in a little bit more detail, good amount of tip rocker up here, but not a ton. You definitely see more in other skis in this category. Say something like the QST 106 from Salomon, that would have a little bit more rise in the tip as well as in the tail. And then they include some pretty nice early taper, some pretty significant early taper, which gives this ski a lot of its quickness. And I really like that. I've always really enjoyed skiing this thing, like I said, and it's really, really fun. I think it allows you to do a ton of different things on the mountain. Definitely kind of one of those skis that, depending on where you live, the specific role that it's going to play could change. Like here in Stowe, there's a really good powder day ski. We don't often need much wider than 105 underfoot when it snows a lot here in Stowe. And then you benefit from the quickness of the ski and the trees and stuff like that. Something that I saw reflected in feedback from our ski test this year is there were a handful of people that it seemed like they maybe wanted the ski to kind of do more for them. And I think that's actually a really, really accurate thing to say about the Atris. And to me, it's not a bad thing. It's not a downside to the ski. It's just important to know there are skis out there that you get on them and you're like, oh, this thing wants to turn. It wants me to make these specific movements. The Atris is a ski that you have to dictate what you want to do, and I think that's important to know about this ski. Like I said, I've always really enjoyed it. I've skied it in various different lengths over the years. I think this 184 is probably the sweet spot for me, especially given the stuff that I like to do on it when I get on an Atris. Matt Testa, phenomenal skier. He was at our ski test this season. He's been a few times actually, but yeah, I was psyched to have him this year. He got on it and his thoughts kind of exactly echoed mine or exactly reflected mine. He said something along the lines of, you can ski it really fast, you can ski it hard, and you can ski it aggressively. If you want to charge around the mountain and go anywhere, this is a really, really good choice. But he also commented that it is quick. It can be agile as long as you're willing to put that work in. So really cool ski. You know, just thinking of like places I would love to ski it and haven't had the chance. I would love to ski it someplace like Alta. Maybe not on like a super, super deep Alta day, but I think on like a couple days after a storm, that type of conditions in a place like Alta, this thing would just be absolutely incredible, which I suppose isn't surprising because I brought up the QST 106 from Solomon earlier. That ski, I know from firsthand experience, just like loves terrain at Alta. And I actually think there's some decent similarities between Atris and QST 106, both in kind of their mix of stability and playfulness, as well as just their versatile nature. So that's it. That's the Atris from Black Crows. Really like the new graphics too. I think they kind of nailed it with the Atris graphics, and the birdie is cool too. The birdie is basically the women's version of the Atris. Is the Atris birdie is basically an inverse of this colorway. So yeah, I think it's quite sharp. And that's it. That's the Black Crows Atris. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.